Hi guys, welcome. I'm really excited about this, but also kind of nervous. And to be very honest, I wasn't expecting this to happen. Because when we started talking about discussing Pinjar, it was mostly because I saw the opportunity. I was like, okay, we are discussing Manoj Bajpayee's filmography, and this is a film that I wrote that is, I think it's really impactful. I just threw it in there, but I think thank you so much, both of you, to kind of just take it seriously, take the time to watch the film.
I'm just overwhelmed.
I wasn't expecting.
No, it's
I wasn't
actually
expecting
good.
it.
Yeah, the film was really good. Thanks for recommending it.
Right, and it's a great film, but another qualm that I had about it was because the kind of movies that I have discussed with you people, they're different from, let's say, the typical commercial movies, right? And Pincher is not. I'm not. It's a very different film, even if it's in the commercial space. It's a different film. It has those elements of commercial cinema, like the entertainment part, lit in bits and pieces. But I think the story in itself, Pincher's story in itself, is, to be very honest, if I have to put it this way, one of the most important stories that have been told in Hindi cinema, according to me. Okay. So thank you very much, and let's start. Okay. First things first, I would like to know if you guys enjoyed the film.
Okay, so yeah, I enjoyed the film. Of course, I had a bit of like, it's basically good, beat the themes of the film. There are a lot of themes and layers in the film. But but still, it was somewhat, the basic thing is I enjoyed it, but I have few issues.
Be honest. Yeah, be honest.
Yeah.
So, okay, you enjoyed it. What is these things that you're not filling up? What do you feel about it? What are these things?
Okay, so first of all, it has, somewhere I felt it could have been a lot better for the thing it took, and and in terms of making, I felt it was like a serial. Like I felt like, and when I searched on net, it's not even 90s. It's in mid 2000s, 2006 or 7. Yeah, oh yeah. So that time, the quality of film and filmmaking in Hindi cinema, the budgets were big, and this is also a big production, but still, somewhere I felt, it was like a serial. Like they put sets according to like the place, and then even the dialogues and the background music. And then now, when I searched on the net after watching this film, the director is he made serial Chanakya
Chandra
and all.
Prakash Dwivedi, exactly.
Yeah, Chandra Prakash Dwivedi, and his next film is also coming today. Like the trailer released yesterday. Yeah, Prithviraj, based on Prithviraj Chauhan. So yeah, he likes this historical things and all, but somewhere I feel that as a making wise, it could have been a lot better, and beat the performances, or it could have been a lot better. Yeah.
So what about?
Yeah, I also really enjoyed it because I felt it was like a book, like the film is based on a novel, and when I was watching the film is more like a book to me. Like there were few films when you're watching, you feel like it's a novel, it's a book. I always had that feeling with few films. Okay, so this is one such a film. And also, even I also felt that the film is more like a serial, and then I get to know that the director is already directed. The director have already directed some great soap operas like Mahabharat. He have directed some 70 episodes in Mahabharat and all, and then he directed Chanakya. And also, I get to know his style and all, and yeah, and the film is really slow, and the pace is not the big problem for me. And but I felt that this is not the great Manoj Bhagwat performance. I really know why he won the national award because the like Urmila Matondkar easily overshadowed Manoj Bhagwat. If she won the national award, means I'm so happy for that. But I really didn't know whether this is a deserving one or not. He did a great performance, but is it up to the national award level? I really didn't know. Yeah.
About this. So in terms of performances, even when I saw the film for the first time, it was a time when I hadn't even seen Family Man by then, right? And I just got into this seeing movies by Manoj Bajpayee when he was a lot younger and not that commercial, not that active in the commercial space, right? And to be very honest, more than Manoj Bajpayee, of course, he was praised for this performance, but more than him, it was Sanjay Suri, the actor who has played Ramchandra. He was the one who had been really lauded, and we don't know much about the actor now. From what I have searched, he's done a couple of roles, major roles here and there. This movie called My Brother Nikhil, which came out in the mid 2000s. In that movie, Sanjay Suri was a protagonist, and he was he was a protagonist, and his storyline was basically about the fact that he's this homosexual man who is also HIV positive. So, I haven't watched the film, but when I read about it and just like other of his works, so the fact that he's not really this established commercial star that we know of, but on searching about his performance in the film, his performance was really lauded, and rightly so, considering we don't have a lot of reference to put it against. We have a lot of reference for Urmila's acting and Manoj Bajpayee's acting, but we don't have a lot of reference for Sanjay Suri's acting now. This little information that I really would like to put it out there. If you guys have seen Razi, the opening and the end scene of Razi is on this dock of the Navy, the Army, where they are standing and they're just paying homage to these people. And if you see the one character on which is zoomed in, basically Sehmat's son, Samar Sayyed, Sanjay Suri played that character. So he had he had that small cameo in Razi. He was Samar. I didn't know that. I came to know only now after making that research. For the first time last year. I didn't know that, right? Yeah. So that is there. Also, this way, you guys are so true. This is so true. Now that you guys say it, it is actually like a serial. I didn't have the words to put it that way, because when I saw it, I was like, of course, it is not the kind of film that can be considered, an art house movie or just something that's very experimental or even subtle in that sense. It's a very loud film, right? But also now that I think of it, I feel that a story like Pinjars came out in this commercial space, which is why it was able to reach more people. If a film like the story like this would have been, something that was a feature film or like an independent film.
They need a budget also. It's a big product.
Exactly, and I don't feel that it would be able to reach the common audience, the kind of audience that's a given, right? The fact that the audience for commercial films is a lot larger than for art house films.
I think Urmila is also a commercial display.
Exactly. Exactly. And about Manoj Bajpayee's performance, I feel that more than his performance, I really, really was impressed by the fact that he made this choice. For me, him playing Rashid was just so normal, as in I couldn't see it any other way. I couldn't see anyone else playing Rashid, It's because Rashid is not this larger than life, magnificent character. In fact, he's not even, he's the kind of character who's not a hero, but he's not the villain. Right? And which is why I really appreciate the fact that Manoj Bajpayee chose to do a performance like this, in that time. And I'm not saying he was great or out of the box, but I think he did complete justice to it. Right?
Yeah, like in the climax, I really love this performance. Like in the last 30 minutes or not, he did a great performance. But I won't say that this is because I've seen Gangs of Wasseypur, I've seen Ali Gar, and then Family Man. So I cannot.
I totally get it. I totally.
I thought the basic dialogues itself were of that, pitch that even though it's a good performance, it gets diluted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and also you mentioned subtle, right? This is not subtle, right? At one particular scene, you mentioned the film is not subtle. Okay, the performances are not subtle. Exactly, like because at one scene where Puro is escaped from Rashid and she's getting into her home, and her parents are saying, okay, we can't allow you to live here and all, we can't make you live here, and at that scene, the performance was completely like the over dramatic, the typical soap opera thing. I really felt that yeah. Yeah, but that doesn't feel so odd, because for this film it is okay because they set the film like that, the film is going the correct way. So I didn't feel it was an odd one.
Totally. So, I mean, honestly, guys, this the way you put it, it's actually at a very soap opera level. It's a very TV serial level.
No, actually, even the
Yeah,
background
not in
music
a
that
negative way, sorry.
exactly
Yeah.
like defined the soap opera feel, like the serial, music kind of thing, underlying everything.
Yeah, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
Mm.
Okay, this is a very quick thought that had just come into my mind. Because the film is based in Punjab's landscape, right? And this conversation that we were having the other day, about you guys were talking about how Meenakshi Sundareshwar has done this
Yeah.
blunder that Bollywood has been doing for so long
Yeah.
in representation. And I mean, I feel that goes true for even if for any setting in Bollywood that has Punjab's landscape in it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
loud, over the top, and just it has characters which are caricaturish, which are almost every time caricaturish, and even if they're not, they have a lot of they tend to incline in that direction, right?
Yeah.
So if this film, Irfan Khan's film Kissa, the story of a ghost,
Mm.
that is that film is in a completely different dimension as compared to Pinjar. And I'm not comparing the movies, but just the fact that um, even in even in Pinjar, the setup, the landscape of Punjab, pre-partition Punjab, I I think that is great. That's, I mean, it's very almost accurately dealt with. I won't say it's subtle or sensitive, but it's till a large extent, it's very accurate. One thing that I really liked was that even in any kind of partition films that come in, they are solely about partition. Okay,
Mm.
this is a different topic that I want to discuss, which I will get to in the next after this. But the fact that if you realize in the movie, they are going from one place in Punjab to another. There's Amritsar involved, and there's Chavni, and so there's a city, there are villages,
Mm.
and in that sense, I feel that the social fabric and the physical setup of Punjab has been very accurately dealt with in the film, considering compared to what they do now. Punjab is not just about, let's say, Amritsar or just about villages. I mean, even if you go to Punjab, Bhatinda or a place like Bhatinda or Fagwara will be very different from Amritsar or Jalandhar or Firozpur. So I think that's very accurately dealt with in the film. And before I jump to the next thing, which is very major, I want to talk about the music because Raj started about this now. The thing is that if you guys remember, in the starting sequence itself, which is full of violence, right? Communal violence, as it is shown over there. There's a background music of Aaj Akkha Varis Chano. It's a poem, okay?
Mhm.
It's a poem which is a song in this film, and that poem has also been written by Amrita Pritam. Okay, Amrita Pritam was this. I don't know how much you know. Her works range from poems to a lot of novels. And she is this really huge figure in Punjabi and Hindi literature, especially Punjabi literature. And this is one poem which is a very major part of partition literature, because the fact that Punjab was really really shaken during the time of partition. Like a lot of things changed, and a lot of it is reflected in its literature. You have Sahil Ludhianvi writing about it. You have Shiv Kumar Batalvi writing about it. You have Amrita Pritam writing about it. So Aaj Akkha Varis Shanu is a very famous poem, which is a song in this film. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, just quickly giving a gist, Waris Shah was a saint slash poet in the Punjab region in previous centuries. But when India and Pakistan were not two different things. So Lahore, Amritsar, Karachi, these things are very, very, very closely intertwined. Even today, the Punjabis who live in Pakistan, a lot of things are very similar to the Punjabis who live over here in Punjab, in India's Punjab. So that poem basically calls out to Waris Shah and tells him that your Punjab is just dying. this is what's happening in your Punjab. Okay. So it's like calling out Badshah from his grave to just see what's happening and come and stop it if you can. So that is a very major song in this film. And another song in this film, if you guys remember, when Puro's mother gives birth to a boy, she has to have a boy. That is also a poem written by Amrita Pritam. It's called Chalatima. Okay. So these two, and even, I mean, a lot of other songs in this film, I think they're great, especially the one that plays in the background when Rashid goes to visit the Dargah and Puru is in labor back home. So all keeping the background music apart, I feel that the soundtrack of this film is very, very impactful.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the three songs that I mentioned. Other than that, the part where Puro comes back in, with that old lady and she wants to look for Ramchand because she still loves him. The song that ghazal, basically, it's a ghazal that has been sung by Jagjit Singh, right? So I feel that, of course, the background music escalates the pitch in a very over the ways at a lot of points, but the soundtrack of this film, it's absolutely, it's just another element that adds on to the justice that this film does in depiction of Punjab and what was happening over there. So even though the pitch of the film is very high, but the mood is set very correctly. I'm not sure if you guys were able to kind of just because I understand that for a film like this, you need to have the context. When I saw it for the first time, I had no context about it. I had to make a lot of research to kind of see what's happening, because I was really boiled out by the fact that the fact that a 50-year-old woman is giving birth to a boy because she has to have a boy. Things like these, which I feel are very accurate in its depiction of Punjab. And secondly, another thing that I feel that this sets this film apart. Have you guys heard about that film Gadar? Ek Prem Ka Kahani?
Yeah. I'm watching.
Have you guys watched it? I haven't watched that film.
I watched it a long back, but I need to revisit it. Even that is also a love story set in partition time. But
exactly.
Even that would be loud because at the end, Sunny Deol beats up 100 people for his love.
I haven't seen Gadar, but of course, both of these are commercial films. And in fact, Gadar is a lot more talked about than Pinjar.
Yeah.
To think about it, for Pinjar, the story was already available. The novel written by Pritam is of the same name. Oh, by the way, are you guys aware of what the word Pinjar means?
Skeleton, right?
Yeah, it means skeleton, right? So
first I thought it fit as cage, like due to the Hindi Pinjar and
I get it.
Even that resonated with
that resonated. That totally resonated, right? So the fact that I haven't seen Gadar yet, but once I watched Pinjar and after I made them research, I think these are the only two films that talks about the phenomena that has been shown. There have been so many films on partition, especially I feel that towards the late 90s, early 2000s, because as communal tension started rising in India and just this kind of started to become this thing that ticks because there are people supporting and people against it. So there were a lot more films that came in that context, and it's really surprising the fact that the films that come the overall, it's a very generalized statement that I'm making most probably, but the films that come before mid 80s, I believe, they have a lot less to do with, internal communal concerns as compared to that come in afterwards. Afterwards we have films like Bombay, films like Pinjar, and these things which are Heram, these films which specifically deal with the problem of communal violence. Before that, it's a concern of the film or maybe a part of the storyline, but it's not the major subject of the film, right? So as compared to other partition related movies, I feel and not just I feel the phenomena that has been shown in Pinjar is basically of the abduction that women faced during the partition, and this is something that I was totally unaware of. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but apparently there were, 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 there Um, 20,000 plus women from both sides of the border, which were abducted solely on the basis of religion. So it was like Muslim men abducting Hindu and Sikh women, Hindu and Sikh men abducting Muslim women, and it was done solely as a as a revenge. Because this just shows how this shows how horribly patriarchal the Indian society has been for these previous centuries, with or
And
without the.
there's also a dialogue that says, "ये लड़की देखे वो like will exchange Hindu
Exactly.
women for." Yeah.
Totally. I was totally unaware of this fact, and I mean, it's not so we all know about the communal violence that happened, but this became later on. This became a legal thing. So once partition happened, this violence started emerging from 1947 onwards in districts of Rawalpindi, then over here in Amritsar and Lahore, and at very large scales. And they were abducted, they were raped, they were kept hidden, they were sold, and so many things. And later on, when partition was settled, um, Liaquat Ali Khan from there, the then Prime Minister, and Jawaharlal Nehru from here, they had a pact in this inter-dominion conference that happened. They actually made a legal pact that we will return these women, right? I mean, it's not something that just happened at a very social level or at a very unofficial level. So if you guys remember this one sequence in the film where Puro, she disguises herself as this lady who sells blankets, exchanges them, and she goes from house to house looking for lajo, right?
Yeah.
So it was an actual thing. It was a very legal thing wherein officials from over there, with the help of local parties, disguised themselves, came over here in search of these women, and officials from here went over there, right? So it was I mean, imagine. I mean, I was really bawled out by this, because I was like, how is this even possible? The fact that you are exchanging women and it's happening at a national level. Imagine, and the fact that a lot of these women didn't come back because their families on either sides didn't accept them because you're polluted, and B, they didn't want to come. When you spend 2, 3, 4 years at a place, your previous life absolutely disrupted, and you just can't. There's so much trauma involved, right? So they didn't go back. So ultimately, it's kind of the entire this inter-dominion pact, it failed. Of course, recoveries were being made by as far as 1956 here and there, but it faded out, right? And if you remember, towards the end, Puro refuses. She doesn't go back. So about that, there's this one thing that I read about this film, that the film does not, it doesn't idealize or demonize any one side. The fact that it is not about India or Pakistan or the religions. It's about the fact that women were used as pawns. What do you guys think about Puro and Rashid's relationship? The way it started, the way it built up. What do you think about it? How did it make you feel?
Okay, so before that, before coming to this relationship, I think you said abduction. And when that comes, before partition also, Rashid abducts Urmila character. So that's like a regular practice of revenge among families, shown as that in this film. So yeah, just wanted to say that. And according to this relationship, so she has spent a couple of years with Manoj Bajpayee, and now in the end, even if she goes to India, her family didn't support her. So when she came back, escaping from previously, so her father, her mother, they themselves told her that we will be killed, so just go away and things like that. So because of that, she's now and due to her entire journey, transformation, her relationship with her husband, he repenting his mistakes and doing something back by bringing back Lajju, saving Lajju, and even going to the extent of leaving her, that you go to your mulk, and that's my punishment kind of thing when he sits there alone in the climax. So all these factors were like made her choose that, okay, like he is my husband, though the process was in a very wrong way. Abducted her and forcibly married her, changed her name, put her tattoo of her new name and things like that. But still, now he's her soul family, and like life now, especially at that time, it's not today's times that she can apply for divorce or go back to home, financially be independent or not dependent or anyone. So like in all factors put together, like even as a person, she starts liking Manoj Pai. Though it's not registered, but still now it has transformed. The relationship has grown, and now she feels Pakistan is her milk, and she will be with her husband. Yeah.
Yeah, that was more like a like like they like how can I say uh, I didn't know how to put it in words, but I can say it was a platonic, but I can't use it here because that won't be so appropriate, for that relationship. It was partly platonic and it's not platonic at the same time. And yeah, I really loved loved in the last 30 minutes that chemistry was so good, and she was saying that he didn't added a single word, single bad word at me, not bad word, single curse word or anything at me after after the sin that he had committed, like after that he haven't done any mistake, or he's so good to me, and I'm so feel uh, comfortable with him. So I really, she said right, Puro said all these things to Laju, right? Yeah, and those scenes, and then in the very climax, she was saying that this is where I belongs to, so that easily shows that how good their relationship is, how good their relationship is. Yeah, I really don't know how to see that. It was platonic and it's not platonic at the same time.
And it can also be like Stockholm syndrome in a way, but over the years, not immediately.
Yeah,
after
and like
abduction,
yeah,
over the years.
yeah, but I would like to, when I was watching the film, I was really I was really angry, and I was really felt bad that for being born as a man. This film just just gave me that kind of feel, because the father of Puru is, I just irritated that that man just irritated me, and I just hated him for the hell of it. Because how can he used to say that she's gone, you can't do anything, we can't take her back, like how can you be like that, man? I hated that character. He's so cruel. Like leave all of the guys, even the Pakistanis and all. Like I'm not even getting into that. They're all really good comparing to this bloody guy. I hated him. How can you
The
be?
father.
He's so bad, man. And
Kulbhushan
also,
Karbhani.
sorry.
Kulbhushan Karbhani.
Yeah. And also, I really that song, the mom of Puro used to sing, about women. Okay, if you born as a woman, you have to do something. The lyrics will be, yeah, that song is really, really, really disturbing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that song is really, really disturbing because this year that is a film named Karnan released in Tamil. I think every songs in the film were very disturbing to me, and this is one such song, very, very disturbing. After hearing that. And also in that song, that's a particular tune, and that tune used to play in most of the places in the film. When Manas Vajpayee was taking Puro, okay, at one point he was kidnapping Kuro, at that time, the music also played, the same tune also played at that time, and I really loved that tune, and it was very, very disturbing.
And there's a recurring line, especially in the first half, which the song lyrics, which says, I don't remember the exact words. The meaning is, a son is given a palace, but a daughter is given separation, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's a
That's what it means. Like the girl is to be sent away.
Yeah. I
So
understood
it
the
just
meaning,
gave me
but
a
the words
slap,
were a mix of
it just gave me a yeah, because after watching Great Indian Kitchen, I was like, oh my god, I really felt bad for being born as a man. And again, this film also gave me that kind of a thing, that kind of a feeling. Because like, how can they used to be like that? Every man, every woman, they're exactly like everybody having same kind of a mindset, and how they like that's really bad. Yeah.
But have you watched Great Indian Kitchen?
The Great Indian Kitchen?
Yeah.
I have not, so don't spoil it
Okay,
for
so
me.
the basic storyline is a girl is newly wed, and she leaves her career, and she's like a homemaker, but forced to be a homemaker. She does all the household works and all. That film disturbed me, but actually Pinjar didn't disturb me. Maybe because of the pitch of the film. Like a lot of bad things are happening on screen, like be it the abduction or overall patriarchy, and at the end of the day, if like it's same, like even outside, if you see, be it caste, religion, god, or marriage, anything, at the base of it, it is like patriarchy only. Like these are just the covers put by humans, according to me. But like male dominance, that's the main thing. So I like that aspect of this film. But like there were a lot of important things in the film, but still it didn't affect me. Like it should have affected me. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I,
because of the
I
pitch of the
totally
film.
right.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying, which is why I was I had my qualms about discussing him. I
Yeah.
knew that the kind of movies that you guys have discussed or that you choose to discuss are at a very different page, in a very different domain. Pinjar. Pinjar is, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't say it's an entertainer, but it is a commercial, like made for
No.
commercial, right?
It was
So
just like documenting events, like events,
exactly,
and also
yeah.
the culture in between, like be it old woman giving birth because she needs a son, or you know
Totally,
uh, these
totally,
factors are there. But overall, it's like documenting events, like uh, women were abducted and partition.
totally, totally.
Yeah.